What's up, everybody? This is the Unstuck podcast, and I'm your host, Drew Koss. And today we have a topic that talks about should I podcast or not, and how do I not get overwhelmed by it? So I'm going to tell you first, my short answer is yes. My long answer is yes. And I'm going to give you examples of how I've done it, how I do it, suggestions, and then you can just go ahead and just go start yours. So the reason why I think people should make a podcast, even if it's just for you, is it's something to keep. I think podcasts will last longer than like social media posts. Not against those, as you guys would know if you know me. I think a podcast can give you credibility. And I think a podcast can easily be something that people who are not sure who you are, if they want to do business with you yet, they can go down the rabbit hole of that. That is something to think about. Can people have something, or do people have something to listen to outside of me making maybe a pitch or a sell, or when they're not on social media? So the reason why I think a podcast, and I say a podcast is definitely an avenue to consider, is that reason. People can have something to listen to of yours. Number two, you can keep it for forever, which gives you a lot of leverage if you want to use those podcast episodes as things you put in your emails. You can use it for workshops. There's so much you can do with it, but the main reason is, I'm going to always say, it gives you an upper hand compared to the old you. What do I mean by that? So the old me would probably say, just post on social media. That's what it is. That's what people are at, which is cool. But you also want to be able to have your content in different places, right? So definitely having it on maybe YouTube, whatever podcast host, maybe Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever else one that you may choose to use. You want to have your content in other places, because people receive content in different ways in different places. People who love YouTube probably don't go to Instagram a ton. They may like the long form or just the format of YouTube. Now, how do we do this where it doesn't become overwhelming? This is my part. This is the part where I want to spend time at. The way I used to do mine before was I would try to do a 2 to 3 minute episode a day. And I got the 2 to 3 minute episode idea from Justin Sewell, who I love his podcast. His podcasts are usually they're about 2 to 4 minutes long. And he usually puts out 2 a week. So it's not a lot of time, but it's packed immediately with good information. Like good, it's not fluff. And he's up in the thousands of episodes that he's done. I love it because there's no one way to do it. That's what you want to think about when you hear this whole episode. There's no one way to do it. There's no right way to do it or wrong way to do it. It's the way you feel that you want to present the information, and how your crowd may want to actually receive the information. So I used to do mine with about 2 to 3 minutes every day, and for me that was good. And then it got ugly because I was trying to speak so much that I was losing the depth of giving good information. So I stopped for a while, and I stopped for a while because I started working for a company, and I was going to just do podcasting for them, and that didn't work out well. So I had a hiatus. I came back, and I had set a goal, 70 videos that I was going to use this podcast, 10 minutes long, and I had 4 months to accomplish the goal. I accomplished the goal in a month and a half. And I said to myself, I'm going to use all those videos, and I'm going to post those things 3 times a week. So if I was shooting 5 to 6 days of 10-minute episodes, that's 6 videos per week. Per month, that's 24 videos. So I was covered already. What I started to do now was post those videos, but what I also did was I would use those 10-minute videos to post on, say, like a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. And then I would cut some of the videos in half and maybe use them on Tuesdays and Thursdays to have more episodes. Now, for somebody, you may say that's a lot, it's too much. So let me make it more simple for you. What if you dedicated yourself to posting a 5-minute episode per week? It doesn't even have to be a video. It can be you just getting in front of your phone and speaking into the phone. If you have a mic, using a mic, but speaking into it about the things you want your audience to learn. It could be just that simple. Now, you may say, well, what good is that going to do? Am I going to become Joe Rogan or like some big podcaster? You may not at first, but you never know what could happen. And you're wasting 5 minutes a week doing something anyway. Why not put it to use and allow yourself to see your growth? I originally did my podcast to see how much I could grow. So when I look at podcast episodes like 4 months ago or a year ago, drastically different. And so I did it for that reason. You can do it for whatever reason you want. But what if you just started off with 5 minutes? Now here it goes, the next problem. What about editing, things like that? You don't have to edit. Up until maybe now, any audio podcast I was doing, I did not edit. The edits I do on my video podcast are usually me putting like some B-roll or words to the screen because people are watching it. But if I cough, if I sneeze, I'm not going to go ahead and go crazy editing. Am I saying that's not worth it? Am I saying that? I'm just saying that this is a way that you can do it where you're not overwhelmed. You're not overwhelmed and you're not falling into this thing of, if it's not perfect, I won't do it, because that's usually a trap. I'm not going to do it until I have everything I need. My first probably 40 episodes that I did, I had no mic. I was doing most of them in a car and I was just speaking into the mic. That's literally what it was for a long time. So I want to encourage you. You can do it 5 minutes a week. You don't have to edit it. Now, the cool thing with doing an audio podcast is it's less scary because you're just talking in front of a mic. And if you want to step it up a notch, you can look at a computer screen and put like your favorite speaker or somebody who you admire so that you feel like you're talking to them. But the cool thing with the audio podcast is no one's seeing your face. So you can do it early in the morning. You can do it at night. Whenever Justin Sua, who the guy I was talking about earlier, he mentioned a couple times that he was doing some of his in his closet so that his daughter wouldn't stop him at the moment. There's so many ways to do it. Now, I use Anchor, which Spotify bought out, so that's something that you can use. And they make it simple where you can add an intro if you want. You can put the show notes, which are notes that people see if they're looking at the screen when they listen to yours. So I use Anchor. And you can set it where it's all in the settings. You can set it where it goes to Apple Podcasts, where it goes to different forms of different places where podcasts are at. So I use that. I upload the video to YouTube. So if people want to watch it, they can watch it on YouTube. And then if I want to, I can cut clips out of it by like Riverside or Opus, or I think it's one called Submagic and there's one called Munch. I actually want to look into Munch. So let me put that on the search list to look into Munch. I've seen what they've done sometimes on some people's stuff, and I like it. So that's how I actually do it. I get up, right now it's about 4:30 a.m. and I'm doing a 10-minute episode today. Try to keep it simple until you want to get complex, and you may figure out, I don't want to get complex. I want to keep it simple the whole time and just grow it by that. So you can keep it short. You don't have to edit if you don't want to. You can do it once a week. You can do it twice a week. I figure if you're a speaker, you're speaking somewhere and you're probably recording that, you can put that in there. There's so many things that you can do that will allow you. There's so many things that you do already that you probably don't know that you could put as your podcast episodes. But do it for the longevity. Do it for your growth. And then do it for the people who want to search you out in different ways, because people, when they look at you, They look at like social media, they look at like YouTube. They're searching to see if you're credible. Don't give them a reason not to have you be somebody they work with. Get unstuck, guys. Go be great.